Hello and welcome back to Cloveriness. My name is Michelle and today I wanted to do an April TBR video. I wouldn't normally do a monthly TBR video like this, but during the month of April I have signed up to do the LGBT month, and all of the details of that are down below. So what I've done is I've combed through my Kindle and my TBR shelves and I've come up with this great list of books that I'm hoping to read during this month. First up are my Kindle titles, and they are Ask the Passengers by A.S. King. I recently read a book by A.S. King and I really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to read more by her. The second book is The Gravity Between Us by Kristen Zimmer, which I've heard raved about by other bloggers whose recommendations I respect. And also The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danrith, which I've heard interesting things about, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy it. And on to the books that have been populating my shelves for too long. The first is Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I've had this book in hardback for a really long time. I've had some, there have been some wonderful things said about this book, and I don't think that LGBT issues are the main focus of this book, but I do hear that there are some LGBT characters in this book. Next up we have Shine by Lauren Miracle. This is the story about a boy who is beaten up and left for dead in this small town community for being gay, and I really think that it's going to be a difficult book to read for the amount of bullying, and apparently this is the story of this boy's former best friend who is trying to look into this attack and find out more about it. Next up I want to read More Than This by Patrick Ness. I've adored Patrick Ness's previous books that I've read, so the Chaos Walking trilogy is amongst my favourite books of all time. I really loved A Monster Calls as well, and I have started it and really enjoyed this book, but it really is just the size of this book that's putting me off. But I'm hoping to read this finally in April. Another book that I've started recently but hadn't finished is A Kiss in the Dark by Kat Clark. Now, Kat Clark is definitely one of my favourite authors. She writes really beautiful and emotional stories, and now when I think about authors who consistently write LGBT characters and storylines, I normally think of three authors, and that's Julianne Peters, David Levithan, and Melinda Lowe. And I recently read a book by Julianne Peters that I hope to be reviewing on my blog this month. I do have 3 David Levithan books that I'm hoping to read this month. That is Every Day, Two Boys Kissing, and How They Met in Other Stories. I've had this book on my shelf for far too long. I bought it myself last year. I was hoping to read it for a book club in November. It never happened. It just kept getting pushed off. And April is definitely the month for that. I'm so excited for his new book. It was recently published in the UK, and How They Met was sent for review in February, but short stories are a little hit and miss for me sometimes, so I've been putting that off for a while. And for Melinda Lowe, I have Huntress to read, which is a fantasy story that I've had on my shelves for a while, and I also have a copy of Adaptation that I recently downloaded from NetGalley. So those are the books that I'm really hoping to read in the month of April. I really love the idea of an LGBT month. I really support the idea behind it, and I'm really gonna love seeing a lot of celebration and love shown to books involving LGBT characters, and there should be a lot more diversity within YA books. Different nationalities and religions, different abilities, and especially different sexualities. We really need to see more storylines for more people. Okay, so those are the books that I'm planning to read in the month of April. I'd love to hear what you'll be reading, and if you've read any of these books, do let me know where I should start first. Thank you so much for watching.